All right, we here, we live. We are live. Let's shoot this out real quick before we get started. All right, we good. So this morning went to man, just put the bottle in. I can't find it now. Just went to Publix. Got me some things. That's one of the bottles. Where the other bottle go? Oh, there you go. All right, so basically, we got this uh, turmeric and cayenne pepper. Gonna be taking this, drunk this just now. What's going on, Lonzo? And then I got the for the immune system. I ain't ever tried these. I took the other little shots of stuff like this before. I ain't ever tried this brand and this name, stuff like that. But yeah, man, I got my fruits. I got watermelon, got my grapes and cantaloupe. So I was watching Instagram and the guy was talking about, you know, boosting your kidneys and stuff like that. And so he was saying basically, and my hat is tilted like mud. But basically, he was saying that you have to eat a lot of melons to like flush your kidneys. What's going on, Wanda? And the thing is, a lot of times we not really eating properly. I've been eating a lot of um vegetables and stuff lately, but it's not giving me my push to help me lose that weight a lot faster. Like I said, I know what I can do. I try to work out, don't work out as much, but I do work out. Excuse me. But going into that, you know, a lot of walking, just not really a lot of calisthenics. I need to start hitting that. And I'm be doing more of that because my boys are into karate now, so gotta get them in shape and everything. I just don't want to be fight. That was the main reason why I didn't want to put him in karate starting off. But I was talking to somebody and they were saying they teach them just like I did in wrestling, teach them discipline. And seeing that they don't want to do wrestling, they mostly want to do soccer. He's like, that discipline is gonna come from that with karate. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and put him in there because let's just say I know my bloodline. Like I heard other people say this, and it's true. When you know your bloodline, when you know who you are, when you know what your family do, you tend to skirt or stay away from certain things to kind of put you in a situation. And the link in there, if anybody want to join, you ain't got to pop up with your face and then just basically want to talk. Basically trying to see what are the things you doing to try to get yourself in order, get some things changed. Accomplish in your life. It's gonna be a minute because I'm actually at work, so just pulled up. I ain't even I don't really clock in because I'm salary. So far as long as I get the job done throughout the day, I'm good. So I just pulled up in the truck. This my red truck that I always show, and just pulled up in the truck for a minute before I go in there and get my. I already got my keys to my box truck, so I just have to pull it up to the dock and take off from there. But basically, just talking about a little health, because like I said, just showing these little bottles and stuff right here. Like I always talk about us not taking our health too serious until that situation happens to where, you know, man, that's messed up. You know, I was talking to my cousin. He said the same thing about his car. He said he's never been without a car due to the fact one time he had his car and something went wrong. He didn't get it checked out and it totally went left. Like his car was sitting probably for 3 weeks or so to the point where he was like, I never do that again. He said anytime he have a situation with his car, he always go get it checked out that day or try to figure it out the next day what he gonna do and how he gonna get around. And to the point never went out without a car after that. And he said he hadn't catch the bus in so long since he was a kid. He didn't even know how to catch the bus. So he had to catch the bus over there to a shop because it wasn't something minor. It was something dealing with his computer. So he was like, man, other than that, my car would have never been messed up. It was a computer issue, which I couldn't take it to no just side mechanic and they fix it. But anyway, like I said, working on your health, getting some things squared away together. Also got watermelon and stuff. I thought it was a receipt. Nope, that's not the receipt. All right, whatever. But basically, I got watermelon, I got cantaloupe, and I got some grapes. So it's gonna be all fruit. And basically, the guy he was explaining, and fall in line. Like I said, I always got to trace behind and look and see if you have some point of reference that shows you're telling the truth. And he was basically saying like the vegetables are the builders, and the fruits mainly flush you out. And eating a mixture of both is it's a balance to on the body and the system because a lot of people who are raw vegans. Shout out to Lash's Journey. She on her channel strictly just going raw. She eats her cabbage, eat all her fruits and stuff and everything to the point where she's losing the weight, she's feeling good, healthy, she runs every morning. You catch her around either this close to this time where she's doing with her jogs, her morning jogs, whether she have her son with her or she's doing it on her own. And that's the thing. We got to start working out more, taking care of ourselves. And I always talk about finance. I always talk about life insurance, but like I say, I haven't talked too much about the self. Self care. That's why I mainly try to push to as well because people need to get their life in order. There's some things you need to work on for yourself. There's some things that you need to, build within yourself the knowledge, knowing how to do things, figuring things out, being sociable, talking to people. Like I said, there were situations, yep, that's the cliche, but it's always true. Your health is your wealth. And the crazy part is a lot of us, you know, we don't take the necessarily time to, work on things for ourselves, you know, whether it be reading a book to retain some knowledge so I can go and teach somebody else or, you know, just a point of reference of learning a new skill or something. You know how many people sit there and don't really learn as many skills, figure out how to do things, just something relatively easy. I know this guy just this past weekend was talking about putting brakes on his car. And he was like, he never learned. I'm like, you can do it on YouTube. Well, break something you don't want to play with. Do it on YouTube. Because I heard a guy, he was like, yeah, man, somebody does something on YouTube and they do it wrong, I charge them double. That's the whole point. Just like you know how to do it. Who did you learn it from? This guy wasn't a professional. This guy never said he went to mechanic school. He was taught by somebody else to learn how to do the job of changing brakes. And so if somebody makes an error and mess up their brakes, he charged them double because they didn't come to him first. The whole reason why they're doing this is to save money. You know, this lady, I went and helped her install a cabinet, and her deal was she didn't know how to cut the water off and to cut the lines to change the valves. So she wanted somebody professional come put the valves in and go from there. So I was like, well, you really don't need the valves. You just cut the water off and go from there. I was like, you really don't need the valves. You can get them. It's a better fit because the old valves eventually over time they starting to rust out now because it's hard to turn. But she left the valves on, end up helping her put the cabinet together for her and stuff. And we worked and I showed her, I was like, well, you do this and do that. and she paid me for helping her out and showing her the stuff like that. I mean, I got paid in the process of showing you how I do it. So if you want to do it yourself next time, by all means, there you go. And that was the thing. Yeah, I mean, it comes to a point where, like, even with my kids, my oldest son, I made him change his sister tire for the first time when his sister ended up catching a flat, and she wanted me to do it. But then she was arguing with me the day before about something I don't know, it was silly. And so I was like, "Why you didn't you say you don't need me? Didn't you say you don't need my help with stuff? You almost grown? What's going on, Bruce?" And she was saying how she's almost grown and stuff. And it was to the point where, like, I'm like, cool. Then when it came around, she had a flat. She drove on the flat all the way home. Wasn't that far, probably about like 2 or 3 miles. Drove home on the flat. Then was like, she went and told her mom she got a flat. So mom come tell me. I said, what you telling me for? She got a mouth. So she had to humble herself, come tell me she had a flat. I said, okay. I go outside, look at the car. I level the car out. I tell her brother come here. I said, come change your sister tire. He was like, I don't know how to change the tire. I said, we're gonna learn today. Had him out there, and he was like, I don't know the first thing to do. I said, look it up on YouTube. I said, don't you look at YouTube for other stuff? Look it up. And what's going on, Lonzo?
What's happening, G?
Yeah, let me finish this up real quick. But I ended up telling him to go ahead, change the tire this way. I said, put the emergency brake on. Make sure it's flat and put the jack on. I said, look at all these videos. I showed him videos. He looked them up. I sat out there and watched them. He did everything right. And when it came down to him taking the lug nuts off, I told him how to step on the lug nut to loosen them, how to step on the lug nuts to tighten them, and that was it. His sister was like, "Is this gonna be? Is this gonna be good enough to drive?" I said, "I don't know. Me and you having this conversation. You said you didn't need me for anything," and she was so furious. But to the point being that it's crazy how people say they don't need you until they really need you. And the old people always say, "You will need me before I need you." And it got to a point where she was just so frustrated, but she understood, like, yeah, I need to humble myself. But what's going on, Lonzo?
I'm doing all
Okay.
right. I I appreciate you talking about the self care thing, the health thing, and you definitely talk about insurance, and mentioning me a lot. And hey, Wanda, how are you? Thank you. Take care. Um, One of the things that I want to talk about real quick is the health thing because with insurance, right, and finances, they say health is wealth. There's a couple of things. One, you don't want to be so wealthy that you can't enjoy it because you're not healthy. But then, even things like insurance, if you want cheap insurance, the healthier you are, the cheaper it is. Because things like life insurance, you don't actually pay for with money, you pay for with your health. So I'll give you an example. You know Marty, right? When we applied for his life insurance policy, we applied for a certain amount. But his health was so good when it came back, they said, so you have two options. You can either get double the death benefit for the same price, or you can lower or you can keep the same death benefit, but we'll lower the price. So he doubled the death benefit. So what it's like is the insurance company is gambling on your life, and they're more willing to bet that you're going to live the healthier you are. So they make it cheaper, dollar for dollar, to cover your life insurance. So
Yeah.
even there, health is important.
Yeah, because when it comes down to it, it's a lot of people that don't realize that, and that's what, I always hear people talk about, I'll get it later, I'll do this. When you're at your prime is in your youth. You know how many people end up as a child, got some type of illness and neglected to get insurance. One of the ladies I was talking to, um, she was telling me how her mother ended up getting her like the little Gerber plan, and as time went on, she ended up adding on to that plan because she was like, if her mom didn't get that plan by the time she had turned 18 and got real sick and something was wrong with her, and lo and behold, she ended up, you know, catching this illness, and without that plan, she probably would have never got qualified for insurance. And all she did was just, try to get more coverage added on to the coverage she already had, and that was
I,
it. But other than that, it was hard for her to get insurance.
I can give you another example. We all know a gentleman who died last year, Kevin Samuels. We all saw the funeral, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this isn't this high value funeral he was talking about. He was worth $4 million. Why didn't he have life insurance?" And the likelihood is that he didn't have life insurance. Why do I say that? Because he was very vocal about what? Being a cancer survivor. So what happens when you have cancer? You generally are no longer eligible to get life insurance, even when the cancer is in remission. Depending on how long it's been in remission, you might not be eligible to even get life insurance, to the tune of Kevin Samuels being a high value millionaire, leaving millions of dollars for his family and his legacy, and the Kevin Samuels Foundation, and all these things that he had planned. Now, all we have is a YouTube channel that hopefully someone is controlling, right? But you had actual men in these areas crying over his passing. Imagine if he had left some money to start a school to help men refine themselves to become what high value is, right? But unfortunately, his health did not allow that. Drinking Red Bulls every day did not allow that. Smoking cigarettes does not allow that. Or tobacco, like Angry Man, cigars all day. Well, now he's a tobacco user.
Yeah. What's going on? Black Guns and Garden, Bronze, Flat Power God. What's going on in
Was
the
that
building?
good? Thanks for bringing me up, Sheed. I just wanted to kind of, I don't want to take over and start, because I'll start talking about insurance.
Yeah, yeah. You good. But I just basically want to, some people to come up, have a little talk, or I just talk by myself and just give some input on, things that people need to work on. Have the talk, like understanding if I need to work on my life and I can do it on YouTube and show people the way, help them and guide them. Because there's certain things. Last broadcast I did, Paige, she was saying, just by listening to me, she got over close to $5,000 saved by just
See?
listening to my videos. I'm like, that's good. That's amazing. You
Yeah.
know, I'm talking to people. One lady I talked to, she's about to buy a house. She was doing the envelope challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and she saved $10,000. Then she ended up doing it again and saving another 10. So she ended up having 20,000 to put down on the house. She
Mm.
informed me what's going on, and that was the biggest thing. Like just listening to videos and having an understanding. Like, okay, yeah, man, I can be entertained. I can be over here laughing and joking and talking about these other people, but the information I'm getting right here is helping me live life better. Like I can actually go take the information I get from this video, go test this theory out, see does it work, are these people actually giving money or doing this for buying a home, and go from there. Even with
Mm-hmm.
the life insurance I talk about. Okay. let me see what Alonzo talking about with this life insurance. Is this gonna benefit me? Okay, this is benefiting my kids. This is moving and so forth to where, you know, I can have future goals for my, family. Just like with even with Kevin, the whole thing. A lot of guys in the space, they talk the talk, but how many people actually foot on the pavement moving? Just like I said, just been in existence from when I've been in here since I think 2018 or 19.
Hmm.
Like the Manosphere, what are the things that these guys built? You know, and I don't even really consider myself Manosphere, but the thing is, if you over there long enough and you talk amongst those guys, you in it whether you like it or not. You know,
Man,
but the thing is, I tell people all the time, I go to a lot of different channels to kind of show them, look, despite everything other guys are saying horrible about marriage, I'm married. Despite
yeah,
everything people are horrible saying about women, I have a good woman. So if guys are always talking about all these women are the same, well, why? Well, you got one in a million, and there's other guys who've been married, and I look at that and I tell them, hey, it's just the women you choose. I always go back to the choices, and I always go back to society standards. Society put us in a standard to where we have to go with the rule of the land. Like I told them one time when I was looking at this one video, and I said it's more efficient for a woman to be out here chasing a bag because they show you in the video, they show you in just these podcasts where these women talk about, hey, I can deal with this guy, he's this and that. Even with Kevin, to a degree, Kevin kind of did a disservice and he did some justice because for one is he's telling you to be high value, he's telling you to make more money. But then two, he's telling you to be high value to spend all your money on the woman. So
hmm,
it's like two sides of the same coin, whatever. Like it's a good and bad coming out of it.
man,
A man should be able to, take care of his woman and take care of himself, but at the same time, knowing your value and let that represent with a woman, and y'all have a good relationship. You know, the relationship should be predicated on me just making the money to spend for the woman, making the money to spend for the family. I should have an understanding of my value going into a relationship or anything, any business deal, because there's going to be some guys that never get married. And if a
right,
guy's never gonna get married, he still has to sustain life. He still has to have life insurance. And I even tell my friends, I'm like, you single? Why you don't have life insurance? Where I'm gonna leave the money to? I'm like, dude, you're gonna need to retire in a couple of years. Life insurance isn't just for your death. Life insurance is for your life. We always talk about this all the time. They have burial insurance, insurance towards death to where you pay for your plot, pay for your tombstone, all this stuff, pay for cremation, pay for your casket. My wife's grandmother has paid for everything, and she has
hmm.
life insurance. So
You
when
know
she
what?
get the money from her life insurance, everything going to the kids. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do a live today about that. I'm gonna show some numbers. I'm gonna literally show how it goes from you putting money in to receiving income for life, right? So you can actually see how it works in action, right? I think that that'll be kind of cool. But like you said, even with that, um, I think the guys, one of the things we missed, what he always used to ask, are you going to have your $2.4 million for retirement? Well, if he's asking that to the ladies, then fellas, he's definitely asking us the same thing. you know,
Yeah,
and a lot of guys are nowhere near that. Um, yet, our focus is elsewhere. But even in that, like you were talking about the health thing, like I'll even use myself. I don't, you know what? Here's what's funny, right? I talk about all this life insurance stuff, shit. I don't have life insurance.
yeah, I know.
Now, people will look at that and be like, well, that's ironic. How you sell it and so passionate about people getting it and pushing it, and you don't even have it yourself. Well, you know why? Because I had a client who asked me, she was like, "So who do you have your life insurance with?" I had to say, "I don't have life insurance." What? Why not? I'm uninsurable. What does that mean? That means that at the time that I first applied for life insurance, because like most people, oh, I'll wait till later. I'll wait till, I need this and that. Well, my health was like, okay, well, you gonna wait, but I'm not. So when I first applied for life insurance at the age of 27 years old, I was a tobacco user, which using tobacco triples your price. And it also can lead to other health complications. That's why it triples your price, because it does things like clogs your arteries, clogs your lungs, dirties your everything, right? So I was 27 years old. I was a tobacco user. I was overweight, and being overweight can add to your death. I mean, remember, I told you you pay for life insurance with your health, not with money. So your health being each health condition that can add to other health conditions or towards death means that they're like, okay, well, the chance of this person is dying, so I'm gonna bet less money. So yeah, I'll give you the $100,000, but it's gonna cost you more than somebody who has the exact date of birth, height, weight as you, but has different health conditions. So again, I was a tobacco user, I was overweight, and I had diabetes onset before the age of 50. I also had high blood pressure. I also rarely visited the doctor. And when they saw my doctor's notes, the doctor's notes said that I rarely took my medicine and wasn't compliant because, like a lot of men, oh, I think I'm Superman. These doctors just giving me these drugs for no reason. I don't need it. And then wonder why my behind is in and out the hospital. Take your medicine, stupid. If you want to be holistic, that's cool, but you gotta, like she'd said, eat the right fruits, eat the right vegetables. You can't be eating McDonald's and not taking your medicine and think you're Superman or that you're 20 years old anymore. But this was even me at my 20s. So with all those health conditions, every time I applied, which the first time I applied, they looked at my health conditions and looked at my medical history and they were like, ha 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 ha, we're not giving you insurance. You're about to die tomorrow. That would be a bad bet. So when they decline you life insurance, they report it to something called the MIB, Medical Information Bureau. And what that does is that tells every other insurance company in the country that you're a bad bet. Or it would be like if you were to go to the casino and, be a card counter. Well, every MGM resort in the country now knows that you count cards. So you can never go to another MGM resort because every MGM resort has a picture of your face and says, if this person enters, security jump on them immediately because they're counting cards. That's what the MIB is. So once you apply for life insurance one place and get declined, usually it's reported to all other companies and they'll likely decline you too. Some won't because they have different underwriting requirements. So it is good to apply most places or multiple places, I should say. But uh, with bad health, it bars you from that. So I say all that to say I can't even set myself up with Alert, which when I show y'all Alert, y'all are going to be like, wow, this is way better than a 401k. I'll tell you what, me and a team member last night, we helped a 22-year-old girl create a retirement plan because she works in retail and the store that she works at doesn't have a retirement plan. So we started a retirement plan for this little girl with about $25 a month. Now, the only reason we were able to do it with such little money is because she's under 25 years old. So she has the power of time on her hands. But with as little as $25 a month, she's gonna have she's gonna have money in retirement. Now it's not gonna be a lot. It's only gonna be like $500 a month, right? But she has a retirement plan. But all that is possible because she's healthy. So health really is wealth because the best financial product that's out there is based on your health. It's not the stock market, it's insurance. But that's all based on you being very healthy. And health is wealth. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. See, there I go again. She talking about insurance.
yeah. Because I mean, the cliche thing is a lot of people neglect because they think they have time. You know, and I always talk about it. Recently my cousin just passed, and my I know my aunt pretty much don't know because she's actually sick herself, and she has insurance. She has a caretaker for her because she don't even work no more. And her daughter pretty much deals with everything, and she ended up getting insurance on her mother, but neglected to get insurance on her sister, which she was taking care of her sister as well. She was ill, and the thing of it was, I'm like, your dad just passed 4 years ago. He didn't have insurance. She went in her 401k and pulled the money out because she was taking care of all them. And it comes to a degree, and it's kind of weird. You want to be in control of things until it gets out of control. So basically, just she was taking care of all them, didn't have insurance on her dad, had to pay out of pocket. Most likely didn't have insurance on her older sister, had to pay out of pocket. And the only person she have insurance on is her mother, and she don't even have insurance on herself, really, for the most part, I don't think, because she had open heart surgery at the age of 10. And throughout other, things about weight gaining and not eating properly and diabetes. And I'm like, the older you get, it's gonna be harder for you. And she neglected it just like she did with her sister and her dad. And hopefully, like, this is a wake up call. Like I told you, like, our family grew up knowing not being a burden to anybody by getting life insurance. But because when my great grandmother passed, nobody's pushing that. My grandmother was pushing it, but when she passed, who else was pushing that in the family? Not being a burden. My uncle passed, he had life insurance. My aunt, she has her life insurance. I have mine, my wife has her, my boys have theirs. Far as my cousins now, they really wasn't around my great grandmother like that. So they don't look at life insurance. I tell them, hey, you don't have life insurance? What's wrong with you? You young now. Like a lot of my younger cousins under 30, I'm like, go get life insurance. What's wrong? You need somebody to talk to? I got somebody. What's up? And a lot of them, they're with this new generational thinking that, oh, I'll live forever. I'm a superhero.
Right. But also, you know what? Nobody showed them what you are telling people about life insurance being a retirement account. Because a lot of agents who are licensed to sell it don't even know how that works. Right?
Yeah.
So she said this is a grown man concept. Well, thank you, Tampa.
Yep.
Um, it is. And like you said, and it all leads back to what you started with in the beginning, which is health. And health is wealth. So you're never healthier than you are today because of simple wear and tear. So even if you stay in good shape tomorrow, just because you lived one day longer, your body has taken one day more wear of tear. So you're less healthy tomorrow than you were today. So the goal is the younger you are with things like insurance, the sooner you're locking yourself in so that God forbid something happens, okay, you leave money, but forget that. It's so when something doesn't happen, you have money. When you don't die, you have money. See, what people think of life insurance is death insurance. They don't think of it as life event insurance. So if I told y'all that we're going to self fund our 401k instead of letting our job do it, you wouldn't look at life insurance the same way because you're just told it's a check when somebody dies. But here's the cool thing about it, too. Unlike retirement, you could touch it at any point in time. So it's good to be healthy because Also, the higher when I show you guys the trick with insurance, you're gonna love being healthy and getting insurance because the healthier you are, the more death benefit dollars they're willing to give you. And then there's a trick to buying life insurance where you can actually overfund the policy, which is what Sheet is always talking about when he says place your 401k against the life insurance.
Yeah, yeah, all the time. Shout out to Kev, shout out to Tampa, and tell them Stewart in the building. You know, that's like the biggest thing. And I was looking into it, and I was telling so many of my family members, like even one of my friends, I told him this guy's about to be in a position where he can make $8,000 a month, and I mean, I'm sorry, 8,000 a week, 8,000 a week because he's about to be an owner operator, work for this trucking company. They're gonna And this has never been done. Like most companies, you lease the truck from them, but you never own it. They're actually gonna give him the keys, let him own the truck. It's a lease to buy program through this company. And in 6 months, if you don't like our service, don't like what we do, you can take the truck and leave. Because that's adding more revenue to the company that they're buying the truck from. Brand new off the lot, nothing's wrong with the truck. And new tractor, you looking at about over 100 some thousand dollars, but somebody who's making 8,000 a week or more, they can easily pay that off. And
Yeah,
to the degree, I'm telling them, I'm like, man, set yourself up. You don't have no kids. I would take at least one check, and if you're not putting the whole thing on that, at least put partial, like a quarter of it or half of it, into a policy that can gain you money over time. I said, man, don't you know, within a 10-year span, you'll be off to the races. Your retirement will be set. I'm like, you don't even have a wife. Like right now, you just dealing with girls, girlfriends, and women that you're dealing with, and nothing's never ever getting too serious. It gets serious, then something happen between them in a relationship, and they break ties. And I'm like, hey, I always tell my friends, I'm like, dude, if you're a good catch, you're a good catch, you know. And if the women, if they don't see that, then hey, that's on them, you know. I always told one of my friends he was looking at this one chick he used to mess with, and she would always try to change him up and tell him get a better job and do this and do that. And I'm like, dude, you walk around with most men a notch on your belt that most men don't have. You don't have no kids. You have your own house. You have a decent job that pays the bills. It's not the best job, but the job pays the bills. It provided you to get a house. It provided you to pay these bills, put food on your table, everything. And I'm like, only thing you don't have is a car. You don't have no kids. Like you a walking bank for a woman that's looking for a good dude. And like
oh
I
yeah,
explained to him, I said I said it's up to that woman whether she wants to deal with you, and if she don't, that's her loss. I always like I told my wife before we got married, I said if me and you would have ever broke up, I said honestly speaking, I think I had probably two, maybe two girlfriends was still trying to get back with me. And one of them, while I was with my wife, this girl I was messing with before her, she just went missing out of the blue. So I'm like, I ain't talked to the girl in 3 months. And all of a sudden, when I talk back with her, she was like, hey, yeah, I had some stuff going on. And, you helped me out one time before, but I ain't want to keep borrowing money or asking money from you. Like, I didn't want to put you in a situation, think I'm using you for your money. And I'm like, hey, I appreciate that. But she's like, I had to get it together. And that's when I'm doing this and doing that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Lo and behold, turned around. She was like, so what's good? I'm like, I'm in a relationship. I've been in a relationship with this girl for probably like a month and a half almost. I said, it's like I think after 3 weeks or a month, I thought you just cold turkey me. So why should I sit there and wait around for you? I said, you could
right.
text, you could email, you know, hey, there's Facebook. You could have sent me a Facebook message or a Black Panther or something. You didn't do none of the above. So I just thought you wasn't interested in me no more. And she was so upset by that. Even one of my ex-girlfriends from back in the day, when I got with my wife and we was together for a minute, she would always hit me every now and then. But when I announced I was getting married, she was mad. Like, why you didn't give me another chance? I would have done better. I would have did. And it's like most women know a good man, but they tend to still want to have their fun and do this. And I'm like, at the end of the day, it's like you have the value within yourself, just like women. I tell women that all the time. I don't look at as men being the prize. I look at the person that represents their self as the prize, whether it be man or woman. You know, because there's no thing to where a woman has to bow to a man just like the same a man has to bow to a woman. Y'all both coming together as one and working for the greater good. And the greater good with it being family and so forth. A lot of people neglect on that, being the greater good and working on family and doing the right things for each other, you know?
Right. No, that's true. I mean, that is the greater good in whole. I know people like that myself. BK, what up? Um, I know people like that myself who, are a good, guy. But one of the things that I think guys neglect is we neglect the neglected girl too. Because even though we look at the guys that get looked over, we gotta remember the girls that get looked over too. I remember like being in middle school and high school, and there'd be, oh, this is the ugly duckling. Oh, that's Sheila Wheeler. She looks like a pit bull, right? But then when now we graduate high school and we're in college, right? And or shoot, even further now when I'm 40, right? Sheila Wheeler, who looked like a pit bull in middle school or high school, now her body banging, right? Yeah, she might have done had a couple of kids, whatever, but her face done smoothed out. Everything, grew into place. She ain't a stick figure no more. Her hair ain't crazy or whatever, you know. So now she looks good, right? And she might even be a catch. Maybe she doesn't have any kids or nothing because she has been looked over. So that's why her body's banging, whatever, whatever. And yeah, she is the stereotype. Oh, she went to college and made money, but she also has the qualities of what men say they want as a wife. I could give you a perfect example. Shoot, I'll give you the perfect example. My wife. My wife has a high powered job and she makes a good annual salary, right? She's a manager where she works, right? And she's above a lot of people. Like, she's an accountant basically. And um, she cooks, she cleans, you know. Um, if I ask for something, she'll do it, right? But it's not. This ain't like a dictatorship, right? We make decisions together, right? So if there's something that has to be decided, we consult with each other, right? It's not a, well, I said that it's gonna be this way, and she's not. Oh, well, this whatever, whatever, you know. Another example is a girl she worked with who was single was like, man, I wish I could find somebody like you because I would gladly give up this high powered job and be a housewife. She said, I'd love to be barefoot and pregnant, but I have to work because there's not enough basically uh, high earning men that can provide the lifestyle that I'm looking for. Shoot, I remember when me and my wife were dating, and we had went out for drinks with some girls from her job. And New York girls are very aggressive and blunt. And I had worked at Macy's at the time, and I made about $1,000 a week, right? So I made about 50 grand, but they made a little bit more. And this was over 10 years ago, so my wife makes a good salary. right? So they was like, I mean, you're gonna have to get a nigga with a real job because Macy's is cute, but we got a lifestyle that we keep up with. And I was like, I'm sitting across the table from you, chick. Like, like they was literally in my face with it, yo. Y'all think, yo, New York chicks are brutal, son. Like I was like, yo, I'm sitting right here, shorty. Like, bang, you know. But yeah,
MDW, shout out. What's going on with you? Yeah,
here,
but that'll always be the case, man. We always go through different struggles because I remember the girls in school that everybody, would never talk to. They stayed the course. They stayed in their books, and it's this one girl. Man, perfect body. She kind of did her thing. She wasn't like all that looking fine that people will portray. But once she graduated, went to college, graduated from college, came back and started coming around, and we would see each other on social media or see each other out, and everybody be like, "Dang, she bad." And I was laughing because I'm like, I was the only one that probably talked to her with a handful of guys, but other the guys didn't really want to deal with her because it was like she wasn't the typical bad type until she graduated. Still had no kids, and to this day, but she loved kids. She ended up becoming a teacher. And the crazy part was, she ended up marrying a dude that had a kid and went with that route. But the crazy part that over time, a lot of guys were trying to holler at her, and I'm like, why y'all didn't holler at her in school? But she bad now. I'm like, but that's the whole thing with dudes with potential. They didn't like see this one big girl. She was at our school. Everybody did nobody want to talk to the girl. And this one guy, he just always, just be friends with her. And when she lost the weight, she went at him. He was like the happiest guy in the world. It's because like a lot of guys don't see potential. A lot of guys, like I was on Truth as I Know It show yesterday. He was talking about instead of looking on the outside, look on the inside. And that goes for women too. A lot of women neglect guys by their appearance on the outside, but they're genuinely a good person. But society is telling you pick this type of person because you get a better outcome. Society is only telling you that because it's a better outcome for them because they know that that relationship might not last. You picking this guy on the veil of him looking muscular, and then when the muscles leave, then what do you have? Because you married him for the muscles.
facts. He said, "Yeah, NY chicks ain't about shit. All that glitters ain't gold." Nah, I love me a New York chick. I ain't even gonna hold you, but it's just, well, obviously I'm married to a New York chick, but nah, it's different. Like, but New York is a completely different beast. So it like when you live there for a minute, you adapt. When they call it the concrete jungle, like they mean it, bro. They everything is more aggressive in New York City. New York State as a whole, maybe not if you upstate or whatever, but you know, New York City, the five boroughs, even Long Island is built different. But that's what I was saying. The substance is important, like you said. You can't just get with a chick for you know what glitters, right? Oh, shorty got the banging body. When you come to find out, everything that glitter ain't gold. The banging body is from you know something else. So she have what you call it, a BBL, or she got a what you call it, a like pads in her clothes. I seen that. I seen all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, the
So
body shapers and stuff like that. Yeah,
man,
it's a lot of that going on to hide the true value of them. But that's what society do. Society put you in that mind frame that you gotta look away because I seen this one. that they were saying that the women are getting the BBLs and all that stuff for other women to compete with, and it was sad that there was this lady, I want to say she was out of Philly or somewhere up north, and she came down to Florida and got her BBL. She was a grandmother, passed, and it was sad because you know, good looking woman, just she was a single mother. Uh, all her kids were grown, but she just wanted to get her body to look a certain way, and it's like work out, you know. Even with this gastro bypass, all these other surgeries, like you never know what's gonna happen when you do those things. Going under the knife, it can have the best outcomes and it can have the worst outcomes. I know two ladies that just had that surgery. They in good health, no problems. I know another lady that had the surgery. She passed due to complications. You know, and just all about trying to lose the weight, like taking your time. Like, and it was one of the craziest things. One of the ladies that actually took the session for the gastro, they told her she had to go 2 weeks no eating. She had to do liquid diet, and within those 2 weeks of
Wow.
doing the liquid diet, she had to drink nothing but like either smoothies or drink juices and stuff like that. Don't you know she was off her blood pressure medicine when they went back to the doctor before they started doing the surgery? They told her she didn't have to take her blood pressure medicine because her pressure was so low, it exceeded expectations. And that goes to show you everything that we're putting in our body is actually harming us than helping us. You know, that's why I stayed away from pork. That's why I, try my best to, not eat so much fried foods and stuff like that. We know what the weight is coming from, but we can't stop eating it with the sweets and stuff like that. A lot of people have diabetes, it can be reversed, but the point is, who's going to do the proper necessarily arrangements about eating more healthy to reverse it? Those cakes are good at night. The ice cream before
Yeah.
bed and all that is so good, but who's willing to stop all that to get that better health?
Well,
Yep. And
see,
then it's
that's the
crazy too,
problem
because
right
my
there.
wife, yeah, I was gonna say real quick, my wife, she from up top. Even though she was born in Jamaica, she moved to I think she's from the Bronx. Then she always say she's from the Bronx. Yeah, she
Mm,
grew up in the Bronx.
yeah, so that, listen, man, like bro said, them BBLs is wicked. So, you know, they, he said these bros don't have real friends getting them. That's funny. But no, like you're right, man. That's part of the thing. I think we stop looking at qualities and we just look at the external, right? So it's like, you know, uh, we ain't putting uh, the right substance in us. Like you said earlier, even with the stuff we watching, right? We're not even watching the content we consume, right? So, for example, we watch Wanda, but she's doing two things at once. One of the things she's doing in budgeting, but she's also doing, even though it doesn't seem like much, she's doing her walking and talking. So, she's doing calisthenics. So, she's literally telling you that health is wealth because while she's walking, she's talking, right? So, she is doing both. It says we don't even think about our diets. We drink sweet tea and sodas so commonly that we miss the amount of sugar and calories that do you know in one can of Coke there's like 64 sugars?
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
basically, if I take 64 packets of sugar and put it in a cup, whatever space is left, I guess I put a little bit of water and food coloring, and that's a Coca-Cola. Wow, that's crazy. Could you imagine? So that's, yeah, 64 teaspoons of sugar. Lifestyle diet discipline is so lacking among most. Yeah, it is. It really is. It's a sad thing, but there's ways to work on it.
Yeah, because
But
even like the stuff we watch, like I get it being entertained every now and then. You know, like I always say, you can learn something from anybody. I can learn from a homeless person. I can look at all these podcasts with all these dudes complaining and talking about women. That further lets me know the things I probably need to work on, or just have my association to have an understanding why you're going through this, so I won't get caught up like that. You know, I I was listening to one with Jay Sean. Jay Sean was explaining. He said, "This day and age, nobody should be complaining about child support. Your daddy went through it. Your uncles went through it. Your uncles and granddaddy before that went through it. With this generation right here, these Z's and Alphas, it's no excuse. Everybody's going through the same. Like I keep saying, society standard put you in the mind frame. Man, I can go out here and hit raw. I'm the pullout king. I'll never have a baby. So the stuff that we being entertained with, we laughing and talking and joking with these guys, but we're still going out here doing the same thing. That's why I said when I heard about the passport thing, I'm like, oh man, that's good for men. Get their passports and do this. But every passport story is revolved around you going out here having sex with a woman and coming back to America. What about the whole passport expectation of going and getting a family? When every time I see a video, it's like, man, I went over there and I had fun. Did you have fun with a woman you're trying to marry, or you just went over there for sex? Because my thing, like I said, if you're going over there paying $3,000 to take a trip, stay over there with a woman for a week and give her $40 a day, what's the difference in getting an escort? It's almost the same concept. For a better woman, a woman, you pay her that much money, she will be a better woman. That's why I keep saying it's flaws in the statement. You know,
that's hilarious. I'm sorry. You just
I
made
mean,
me laugh
yeah,
there. Let me mute up.
no, you good. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's flaws in it. Even the whole point of marriage being a scam, you don't have to get married to the woman. You both can take your own vows. Don't get married through the state. You can write out a contract. Complex Design did that with his wife. When his wife passed, everything was smooth. He had no hiccups in the contract. Far as her life, the money that she had, everything went to him. It was all contracted out. Like all these guys, if there's a problem, there's a solution. Now, what are you gonna do to make the solution greater for everybody? I know things that can get guys off of child support right now, but I won't share it because most of these guys, if you're getting off of child support with what intent? To actually not pay so much, but you're still gonna help the child. Like that's the biggest thing. Like I know guys, like I tell guys about child support. Hey, if you lose a job, go down there and tell the people that you lost your job so they can reduce your child support. I talk to guys about this, and I'm married. I know this from talking to other men that are positive, that know how to move and help other men. Now, in regards to that understanding of getting yourself off child support, I wouldn't do that for most of these guys because I see your ill intent. Like, if your intent is not to give her no money, then what is the intent for your child to live? I always told my wife, I said, if you put me on child support or not, I'm still gonna be there for my kids. And if you get too reckless and crazy, if I have to put them people in my life just so I can visit my kids and see my kids by court order, I'll do that to benefit me. I'm not putting myself on child support just because I want the state in my business. I have the court order, so they'll have to enforce it. But other than that, my wife's she's a good person. But like I said, there's no way to determine down the line if she's gonna turn or not. But with that, there's things in place for that. Most guys have it all together, have all the answers. Now, why not give it to everybody else so we can have the answers too? No, you hide the information. That's why most of the time when you hear the truth is to be told, not sold, it comes with a price for most people because they don't want to get information is valuable. The people who have the best information, they want to put it in a course and sell it. And most of the time, these courses don't even give you the full benefit. They give you like partial information to keep you coming back for more. It's more breadcrumbs.
Nah, you're right. But yo, listen, I gotta actually hop off and make a quick phone call. I appreciate you. I'm gonna continue to watch from the clouds. Y'all know my motto: white bass, work in progress every day, and see success. And when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. We here. Salute.
Yeah, and I'm about to hop off for two, because the thing is I gotta get in here and get this money and get to work. But have an understanding, man. Have value in your life. Do things to make your life better. You know, listening to content on YouTube, have an understanding. Listen with the intent to learn something, whether it be good or bad, not to get caught up in the situation, not to, put yourself in a bad way. Last year, I was just talking about you earlier, talking about your journey, about you, the way you eat. You know, I always talk about how, you know, people need to start taking care of themselves and eating right. I talk about how you run every, every morning. I see you up here, got your running and you're jogging. You got your son in the stroller going some days, and that be the thing. Now it was funny that day was beeping at you. That guy was beeping at you while you was running. That truck driver. Yeah, he was. I don't know. He was like he was after you or something. But just laughing. But at the same time, though, you know, that's the thing. Like I hear about his truck, but see, that's the thing, though. People need to start doing that. Like I said, it's more of a disease for me to see somebody working out and taking care of themselves properly, and me not doing the same thing. I showed how I ended up getting watermelon today. I got uh, cantaloupe. I got grapes, and I'm gonna just eat that all day. I'm supposed to be doing my juice cleanse, but I didn't get no juices, and I want to try to do it fresh, but I have to get the store bought juice. I'll do that because I have a juicer at home. Like I'm gonna start doing more. Like I was just talking about earlier, how the lady I knew she did a juice cleanse for 2 weeks. I'm gonna see how long I can go. Because I told my wife one time I went, I think it was a month without eating bread and no meat, and I think it was three, like no, 2.5, 2 months or 2.5 months of eating no meat at all. I went for a whole month without eating bread. You know, then I went for about 2 months, 2.5 months of just eating them but vegetables. I go to restaurants, I just get me a veggie plate. You know, but that's the biggest thing. Like you got to take care of yourself. That's what we was talking about earlier with Alonzo, talking about getting life insurance. You can get the best life insurance when you're in your most prime health. You know, he was just talking about Marty, the guy that has his own Marty McFly. Marty goes over to Colombia and travels. Marty's a photographer. So Marty deals with a lot of models and dealing with a lot of people taking pictures. Marty went and got insurance. His health was so good, they told him he had two options. He can double the coverage that he had. Let's say he went and got 500,000. He can get $1 million coverage. Then they said, well, let's say if you're paying $500 a month for this, we can actually take the coverage and cut it in half, and you only pay 250 instead of 500. So, like I said, it comes at a price. With us dealing with our health and taking a back. Hey, man, Bruce, I always see you when you was dealing with your dog and all that. Gold P always getting on you about you and your dog messing. But taking those walks, clearing your mind. My wife, I told her, I said, even if you just walk around in our cul-de-sac, that's good. That was one of the reasons why I bought that house, mainly because of the cul-de-sac. A lot of people go in there and turn around, but that's good for kids to play. Now my kids to the point they don't like going outside as much because of the electronics. I be having to cut everything off. I'm like, thanks for Xfinity, the Wi-Fi thing where I can cut all the internet off in the house from my phone and be like, go read, go do something else. But be that as it may, shout out to everybody that came through. Like I said, learn something, And once again, I keep shout out to Paige. She said she, saved like close to $5,000 by listening to my channel. I'm like, as long as I'm giving somebody some information, they retain it in and start doing better for themselves. Just like the one lady I don't really want to say her name, but she ended up saving like almost $20,000 from the envelope challenge to go buy her house. Like that's the biggest thing. Like a lot of people who I talk to behind the scenes and we have these conversations, we're trying to better ourselves and better people around us. Like I said, this is my whole reason for my content is to try to, push people to more or less build themselves up, build their finances up, and take care of themselves. That's why I harp so much on life insurance. Like I said, my great grandmother passed that information on to me. Even if my family don't want to do it, my extended family, friends, and so forth out, people on this YouTube, I want them to get life insurance. I want them to have, you know, something that they can pass on to their kids. I want generational wealth for everybody. And Alonzo, he would be on here, he would tell you. There was a guy, and I'm about to jump off here. I keep saying it, but I'm gonna jump off this time. There's a guy who did the $1 billion challenge to where he went into the black community. I think it was about in 2016 or 15. He ended up raising over $1 billion in life insurance, where he was trying to get everybody to get $100,000 in life insurance to get over $1 billion. And he ended up meeting his goal to where he had over $1 billion in the black community for life insurance. You know, they said this one guy said the same thing. He said when it came down to it, the way for cops to stop killing black people unarmed and without, if they go and everybody get this life insurance, and life insurance don't like paying out like that, you know, especially just so much money at one time, they're gonna question that. They're gonna start suing the police department. That's how thick it's gonna get. But to the point, you gotta have value within yourself and say, man, I need to do better for myself and for my family. I need to leave my family enough money that if anything happens to me, they'll be okay. That's my main reason. You know, from the stands of Kevin Samuels, I'm the protector and the provider. So if anything happens to me, I'm supposed to make the most money. I'm the protector and the provider, pay all the bills. Well, I'm not leaving anything for my family to where my untimely demise, my wife won't have to get remarried if she don't want to. My wife can still sustain life. The kids won't have to move. If she don't want to move, she can stay there. But with that being said, take care of yourself. Until next time, we here, we gone.